Hello once again, guys. You're welcome, and here we have a quick one here. So sequel to the last video I made regarding this particular trade setup is why I'm here again. Okay, now we see eventually that long setup on Euro USD eventually ran up to buy side liquidity, precisely an all week's high. Okay, so I'm going to run a recap here why I took the trade. But recall on the higher time frames, which is the daily, weekly, we've been expecting higher prices. Okay, so I think I took this trade on, was it the 15 minutes time frame? Oh yes, it was precisely the 15 minutes time frame. Yeah, so on the 15 minutes time frame, um, we had this low, this London low running down to take out sell side liquidity below the previous day's low, and that gave rise to this expansive bullish move, breaking market structure up here and giving us this reasonable fair value gap for an entry. And then if you look to the left here, we have this series of down close candles, which we know as our bullish order block. So right there on the fifth, on the fair value gap, was where I made my entry, and I was expecting buy side liquidity to be engaged. Okay, so beginning from this area of relative equal highs, which we would denote as in our internal range liquidity, and as well this area which I carefully spotted out on my last video, this area, and then the overall high I was expecting the market to run up to. So it eventually did. So like I said, I was going to hold the trade from that day up until the next day, which was today, but I had my stop loss trailed. Okay, I had my stop loss trailed, and I think I dragged it up until somewhere around below this low. Below this low was where I trailed my stop loss to, and I'm gonna give that a red color, okay, so that it actually stands out. Okay, so I trailed my SL up there. So but eventually I got kicked out, okay, by the trade, and I actually preferred getting kicked out than this trade going against me, because the broker I use, I think they charge me so much for commission charges, and for overnight, charges, all this stuff. So the cumulatively what I was being charged was, I think it came up too high compared to the amount of loss I was willing to take. So I just had to cut my loss and allow the trade go just where I got kicked out. So, but eventually our narrative still stayed. Okay, the trade ran up to buy side liquidity, taking out this high, this high, this high, and the overall high. And I think it could have been a beautiful trade, but shit happens. So I would call that a loss, an honorable loss. So that's the trade so far. But moving down to GBPUSD, I did a little thing there, which we would call the TGIF trade. Okay, GBPUSD had its own bone to bite, and after it ran up from here up to the overall high of the week, which would be Monday's high. If you look at Monday's high here, they're relative equal highs here, and there should have been a lot of liquidity above there. So price came up to take out that level of liquidity, and after it did that, this large expansion down here drew my attention. So I just wanted to take something very, very small out of it. So this 2022 classic pattern formed here. So buy side liquidity got ran, and as well the overall high got taken out, and I marked it as XX, and a shift in market structure, and retracement back into this fair value gap, which is above premium, which is above the equilibrium, and we'll call that premium, the premium side of this current dealing range. So I made my entry there. And then one more thing that allowed me make my entry was, if you look at this low and this low, comparing it to the lows of Euro USD, you're going to notice that Euro USD was making higher lows here at the time. GBP USD was making lower lows. So that's an SMT. Okay, so that gave me the audacity to take this trade. So I went short here, and I was expecting the market to at least run down to, somewhere below this New York's low. But then it's Friday, and I wouldn't be reasonably be expecting the market to run as much as I would have, wanted. So I collapsed the trade right below this low here, and I just did with that. So that was it. That was what I did for today. So moving over to MT5, for that long setup here, it could have been a good trade if my SL was not trailed, but then I did what I had to do. Okay, so made my entry here, and I got taken out somewhere here. You can see that yourself. So moving over to GBPUSD, where I made that entry on the 5 minutes time frame. So on that fair value gap was where I made my entry, and then it sold down to this area of sell side liquidity, which I just saw that to be a reasonable terminus for me, and then I just closed it. I caught my loss there, and I think that was just it. So next week we go again. I hope you found this insightful. Thank you.